Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about something honestly I never thought that I was going to make a video on this channel, not because I am embarrassed about it or anything like that, but because I really just didn't want it to be my thing, especially when I was first up and coming as Brooke and Pippa and was trying to build my channel. I obviously had to make money on the side, on the road, to sustain myself. Now, if you are like a real like original watcher of the Brooke and Pippa channel, like back when I was going live on TikTok and Twitch a lot, there were some Brooke After Dark live series that a lot of you actually know that I used to do this, that I used to be a phone sex operator. I think this comes at a perfect time to actually share this, mostly because I think so much these days people can really get an image in their mind of like who you are because of how you present yourself online. And I think this is going to surprise some people, but then not surprise the others that know that I am sassy and that I love a good comeback and that I have no issue oversharing, because originally that is how I did everything. Now, this is a funny, I guess, story time slash how much money I made slash is it worth it kind of video, because it is something that feels so out of reach for a lot of people, or something that is so far removed from what your day-to-day job post would look like, that you're kind of like, how the heck did you even get into this and why did you even do it? So originally, right before Pippa got attacked, if you guys didn't watch my whole video on like the history of Brooke and Pippa and the timeline of like how all of this happened, I originally got on the road after my salon closed, and up until November of that year, Pippa and I were on the road in a Toyota Winnebago. So we weren't in the car, we weren't living in the car just yet, but Pippa then got attacked at an RV park by an off-leash dog, and Pippa needed stitches, I needed stitches from the dog attack, and I essentially decided to sell my RV, move into an apartment to let Pippa heal, not unlike what I did this summer when she needed dental surgery. I've always put Pippa first and her needs, and to make sure that she's well taken care of by a vet. The difference is is that was after my salon closed and I was in a lot of debt, and I was in a lot of business debt, and I didn't have a lot of money to my name because I had changed my residency from Indiana to South Dakota, so I also wasn't getting unemployment during the pandemic either. So things were a little rough, and I was on a Nomad Facebook group looking for jobs, just like anybody else. I've been making ends meet all summer, just picking up freelance things here and there. Like I was literally making word search books, like ghostwriting word search books for an author that would sell them on Amazon. I was ghostwriting for different novels. I was editing. I was doing all these little things, and I was like, this is boring and I'm not in control of it because I'm just picking up freelance jobs as they come. And so it was like $200 here, $300 here, and it wasn't something that was super sustainable. I was looking for a remote customer service job. And while maybe people would think I'm lying, phone sex is customer service, and it's remote because you don't have to touch anybody and you don't have to see anybody if you don't want to. So I saw this listing from an amazing woman who has an entire Facebook group that works on this certain website. And as soon as I joined her group and I saw how much information she had on how to get started and to set yourself up for success, it like really like noodled in the back of my mind, right? I didn't start right away because there's a stigma around it, and I can't pretend that I wasn't worried that somebody I knew would find out that I did it, and it would be so embarrassing to like do what I have to do to make ends meet. Years later, I really don't care anymore what people think because I put myself out here every single week, or with gaps in between, and for a long time on the internet, so this is just as embarrassing, to be honest. I also think nobody should be embarrassed by doing sex work at all. It is a legitimate job, and it is much harder than people think to make a decent amount of money doing it. As soon as Pippa got attacked, I decided I don't have a choice here, right? Like, I need an income, especially then paying rent, because I was renting an apartment. Even though it was only like a 4-month lease or something, I still had to come up with, $4,000 or $5,000 just for rent, and then my expenses on top of it, Pippa's bills on top of it, and then trying to pay down all of the debt that I was in. And I said, let's try it for a month and see what happens. I was also in classes to become licensed to sell like life insurance and health insurance and stuff. And as soon as I got in those classes and heard what a disgusting business that is, let me tell you, I still have my license, I think, in Arizona for life insurance, and the way they are so predatory towards retirees and people who have poor health, let me tell you, I did not feel one bad second picking up the phone and fake moaning, because at least I was in control. I wasn't preying on people in retirement situations or elderly people and basically trying to confuse them into purchasing a life insurance package and then getting the commission off of it. At least that man who called my number knew exactly what he was getting into, and I knew exactly what I was getting into. And that is the part that I think there are a lot more scummy remote jobs you can do out there than moaning a little on the phone. So the very first weekend I was taking calls, it was honestly something I have never experienced in my life. For someone with body image issues and all of that, I did use my real pictures, and to hear how many people thought I was hot was something that has never happened in my life. It's one of those things where you think you have to be an Instagram model to do some of this stuff, but there's people out there in the world that all have a different type, and let me tell you, it is so validating for whatever reason to find the people who you are their type and to hear it over and over again on the phone. Now, are there disgusting people out there? Yes. Did it ruin my mental health a little bit? Absolutely. I learned a lot about men that I really wish I never knew that goes on in the back of their mind. Absolutely. There are a lot of things I wish I never got to hear or experience over the phone. The control I felt about it, that I could just hang up the phone anytime I didn't like what was happening, or that I could pick and choose and block customers. It actually was way better than any retail job or any like customer comes first. Definitely not, because I was my own business. I was a 1099. I was doing everything on my own. Even though I was working through a site, I was still my own self-employed business and filed it as such. And so it was really nice to not have to take shit from a lot of people and could pick and choose who I wanted to work with. And let me tell you, it's not that bad when you're having a really bad day to find those callers who just want you to be mean to them. And it is a little cathartic. I will say that probably helped me more than therapy during that time, a lot. Just somebody calling and wants you to just like rip them to shreds over the phone when you're already pissed about something. Does it feel good? Now, I'm not here to over glamorize it. Obviously, doing this then when I got back on the road was rough. There was a lot of times that I had to work because I needed the money and also needed cell phone service to do it. So it was a little rough that I didn't get to travel in the way that I wanted to because I had to be near cell phone service, and I was still digging myself out of the financial hole that I was in at the time. But being able to pick up calls and work literally whenever I wanted, because all I needed to do was be on the phone. I could be in my sweats. I didn't have to be showered. I didn't have to take pictures. I didn't have to do anything like that. I could be texting. I could be on my laptop, typing back and forth to somebody else. I have multiple characters. I worked on 2 different websites by the end of it. And in the time that I was doing any sort of online sex work, I made over $31,000. It was around a year's worth of work. It did split obviously into multiple like tax years, but it was like $32,600 something dollars. I can't remember. I'd have to pull it up my old tax returns to actually look out what it was. But if you think at the time, I only had to pay off that little bit of expenses from Pippa and that apartment, and the rest of the time after that, I was living in my Honda CR-V. That's when you guys started watching this channel. That was what I was doing in those first videos because I was still getting this channel monetized and I wasn't making money off of YouTube yet. You better believe I quit doing it as soon as I made money off of YouTube. But I had no expenses. I was living in my car. It was just groceries, insurance, my phone bill, Pippa's food, and gas money to drive around and travel while I'm literally building up an entire other business. And so I got to pocket and save all of that money, and it did get me substantially out of debt. When I finally got my big first paycheck from YouTube, that's when I got to be able to buy my pilot. It's really what financially saved me because I could get online and turn my calls on whenever I wanted. A year's worth of work, sure. If I would have been better at it, I probably would have made more than $32,000. I have friends that make in the 60s, 70s, 80s. They still do it on the road to this day. They're great at it. They have the personality for it. I honestly get bored too fast and I don't really like talking to men all that much, but it was a great thing to get me out of a pinch and to be able to do on the road. And I will let you know, there are way, way, way more people on the road who make money this way than probably let on, especially because it's not an OF. You don't have to do your own content. You are literally just talking on the phone or you're texting. And this is way, way more popular than a lot of people realize to this day. You would think it's something from like the 1-800 days back in like the middle of the night. And it is an all day, everyday thing now, especially since the pandemic. And it's just a very interesting thing that it feels so old school and it feels so outdated, yet there are people making six figures a year still working on these sites. So I know that this will come as a little bit of a shock to some of the followers, and that is totally fine. But this is the thing, you guys really don't know what's going on behind the scenes a lot of the time, and I think this is kind of a fun reveal to do. Because I think it will sort out some people too, like that really shouldn't be watching my channel. And it just makes me laugh that even just some of like the very mild sassy things I do on here, I'm like, you don't even know, because this isn't the only thing I've been keeping in my back pocket to reveal to you guys. So I hope this gives you a different perspective on road life and road jobs. I'm not going to give out the sites. I don't have any active profiles. I haven't for a few years now. But I hope it just opens your little mind a little bit. Start thinking outside of the box maybe. Or you may decide that you have to do something else, and that's totally fine too. But I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!